What was that, Arsenal? What was that performance? You do know you're playing at home, right? You do know you're playing in front of your fans, right? You do know you're playing a semifinals of the Champions League, right? Because that performance did not show like you know any of those things were going on. Because what the fuck was that performance? What was that? How do you get dominated like that at your own crib in front of your own fans? How is the camera from the TV spanning multiple times to the PSG fans instead of your own fans in your own stadium? How is this possible? What is going on? Arteta, explain this to me. What happened? Are you really going to allow Luis Enrique and Snake Dembele to dunk on you like this? Because that's exactly what we saw for this first leg. And if we're going to expect something different in the second leg, it's looking tough. Because now you have to go away to the Parc des Princes to try and get 2 goals against this PSG side who impressed at the Emirates and are going to do even better away at home. So how do you expect to turn this around, Arsenal? Because I clearly just don't see it. I don't see it. Guys, this performance from Arsenal today was utterly embarrassing because the amount of hype that they built up because they beat Real Madrid, which to them was an impressive feat. As someone who's been watching Real Madrid throughout the whole season, all right, cool, you did it. Impressive, nice, good for you. But it wasn't an extraordinary feat just because you beat Real Madrid. Because everyone that's been watching Real Madrid this season knows that they're complete and utter dog shit. Again, I explained in my preview video, it took 2 worldly free kicks from Declan Rice for you guys to finally go up in the scoreboard. Besides that, you guys were missing countless chances. I said I was never impressed with Arsenal's attack. The only player that I can, be impressed of is Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, Trossard. I don't trust them. Mikel Merino, as much as he stepped up this season as a striker, he's not a, legitimate striker, right? So he's not the same that you would get from other world-class strikers. But, you going into this game with such confidence that you were going to win, and I can admit it too. I thought that Arsenal were going to do better. I thought they were going to get a win as well. But clearly I underestimated this PSG side, and clearly a lot of people did too. Because PSG just came into the Emirates and absolutely just destroyed them. I'm going to be honest, they destroyed them because, of course, it was only a 1-0 lead. It was only a 1-0 win, but it could have been way more. And Arsenal today just looked like they had no idea what to do. Arteta looked lost. Arsenal creatively going forward created absolutely nothing. In that first half, the only clear chance they had was Martinelli, where he had a great shot where he could have scored and he fluffed it. And then in the second half, they only had one opportunity besides the offside goal that Mikel Merino scored. They only had one opportunity, which was Trossard from a great run from Declan Rice in between, just going through PSG's midfield, sets up Trossard, and then Trossard fluffs it too. I mean, world-class saves, from Donnarumma as well. But I think both of those shots, they should have been better, and Arsenal should have gone up at those moments to tie up the game. Because PSG scored 4 minutes in with an amazing goal from Ousmane Dembélé. I hate to say it because I'm a Barca fan, and I despise Dembélé because of what he did to us. But he scored an amazing goal, an incredible one-time finish, a little bounce in there. You could probably say a little bit of luck, but that was definitely a great hit. And boom, goal, 4 minutes into the match. Kvaratskhelia just shimmy, took out Timber so many times in this game where I don't understand how Timber didn't get a yellow card. He should have immediately gotten a yellow card after the third foul that he committed against Kvaratskhelia. I don't know how he didn't get one. He got away with the penalty because at first glance in that foul that he committed against Kvaratskhelia, it looks like Kvaratskhelia just threw himself, but then when you looked at it from a different angle, he had his whole arm around him. His whole arm wrapped around him. It should have been a penalty. Arsenal got away with one there. But overall, it's like I expected better from Arsenal. I expected them to perform better, especially when you have the likes of Declan Rice, who impressed massively against Madrid. Bukayo Saka, I expected a little bit more from him to go up against Nuno Mendes. As much as he had to go against Nuno Mendes, he also had Kvaratskhelia on his ass. Because when you compare it to the Madrid game, Vinicius Jr. didn't help out Alaba. So Saka had against Alaba on the ropes so many times throughout the game where he created a lot of danger. But this game, he created absolutely nothing. He created nothing. And that's just, credit to PSG and how defensively sound they were in this game. They were excellent in defense, excellent in attack, where they had multiple opportunities to kill off the game. They honestly should have killed off the game by 2 or 3 goals because, again, PSG were just all over them. I said in the preview that Arsenal have a better defense and PSG have a better attack. But this game completely just showed that I was completely wrong, because PSG had the better attack and clearly showed they have a better defensive structure. Because not only was the defense excellent, but the midfield was excellent. VITINHA, Neves, bro, Fabian Ruiz, they were amazing today. They completely took over Arsenal's midfield. The only player I can give credit to in Arsenal's midfield is Declan Rice. You know, he's a workhorse. He always fights. But Odegaard, Mikel Merino, just non-existent. Odegaard, the most overrated player. Like, what was he doing today? Every time he got the ball, he had no idea what to do with it. Any chance that he tried to create, it just completely got messed up, because he couldn't make that little low-key pass, you know, that little through pass, that little over the top for anyone in this game. You know, he was just not impressive at all. And when Arsenal tried to play from the back, he was non-existent trying to help out. Like, it was all Declan Rice, Lewis Skelly, or Mikel Merino trying to go from the back. And they were struggling with that too, because PSG's high press was amazing. Like, PSG, I just got to give them so much credit for this game. Like, DOUE, KVARA, how much danger they were creating going forward. Those two are the most technically gifted players I've seen in such a long time. Like, these guys are incredible. Like, it was honestly ridiculous. Ousmane Dembélé as a striker, dropping down as a false nine, collecting the ball. Nuno Mendes hitting those balls into him in the middle, and him with ease and control took it and, made the half turn, and boom, goes forward in the attack. No one was on him. Like, what was Arsenal doing today? Arsenal, bro. Like, the first 30 minutes of the first half, it was all PSG. Then the last 10 minutes of the half, Arsenal started to wake up. They looked like they were attacking more. Bukayo Saka created this opportunity for Martinelli, where Martinelli hits it, but it goes out, but he was offside either way. Besides that, they didn't create much. Besides the Martinelli chance that I'm pretty sure it was Lewis Skelly who made that through pass to him, if I'm not mistaken. And then in the second half, I expected them to step up, keep that momentum going from the last 10 minutes of the first half into the next half. But no, Arsenal again, they were attempting to attack, but PSG at the same time were in control. They were calm. They didn't have to worry about anything about Arsenal, because Arsenal throughout that game were just practically going for crosses. The only threat that we saw that could have been possible from this Arsenal side were the set pieces, where besides the Mikel Merino one where, he was offside, there were no clear set piece opportunities in this match where they could have scored. Like, honestly, Arsenal today were just awful in the attack. And obviously, since they went down so early, they were trying to attack, and they left countless spaces for PSG to hit them on the counterattack and, cause danger, which I think PSG should have scored. Like, Gonzalo Ramos had a chance in the second half. DOUE had a great opportunity where Raya makes a world-class save. They could have killed the game off. And luckily for Arsenal, they left away with only a 1-0 loss, which, they're pretty lucky with that. But now they have to go away to Paris and try to get a win. I just don't see it happening at this point, because PSG, man, like they have gotten so much better from what we've seen from the beginning of the season to now. Like, they have been extremely impressive. There's no doubt in my mind that they can 100% reach this final and potentially win it if, Barcelona, who I potentially think is going to reach the final against Inter Milan, don't step up their game, because this team just causes so much threat, not only in their attack, but their midfield, man. Their midfield is just so impressive. How VITINHA is just so confident on the ball. Neves is a warrior who just wins balls, makes great tackles. Like, he made so many great tackles today. The Mikel Merino one where he had a great chance to score, and Neves just, last stage tackle. Like, it was like, that midfield was just incredible. Fabian, that tall figure, that tall presence, that defensive presence. Yes, he drives the ball forward with such confidence. Like, their midfield is incredible. And again, going forward, like, they have a lot of options going forward. Like Ramos coming off the bench, Barcola coming off the bench, which when he came on, he didn't really do anything. But, these are still threats. Like, the one thing about PSG that, they have a lot of favor in is because they already won their league. They're going to win the Coupe de France, which is, I think they have to play it in a couple of weeks. Like, they're chilling right now. Like, they're completely fine. They can make rotations in the league. Like, there are a lot of their players are a lot more rested compared to the other three teams. But that's what happens when playing their respective league. They don't have much competition, let's be honest. But they made it to the stage not only because they're able to make rotations, but they just play incredible football. And today they showed again with a dominant performance against Arsenal. Now, if I want to give man of the match to anyone from Arsenal's end, I would either give it to Declan Rice or Saliba. Saliba made some great last-ditch tackles too, where that one last-ditch tackle against Hakimi, Dembele with a great pass into Hakimi, and Hakimi, could have scored easily right there, but Saliba makes a great tackle. I think defensively, Saliba was very good. And Declan Rice, again, He was the main guy trying to push Arsenal forward, trying to create something, trying to push the team forward to create something and get a goal. But it just wasn't enough. He can't do it all himself, right? And for PSG's end, if I were to give man of the match to someone, I'd give it to. It's a tough one. I'd say I think the whole team was just incredible. It's hard to really pinpoint who. VITINHA was amazing today. I think he was very good today in the midfield. Donnarumma didn't really have to do much. Let's be honest. Like, he had like 2 good saves, but besides that, he was chilling most of the time. Like, a lot of the shots from Arsenal were just straightly directly at him. But I would maybe give it to Dembele, because Dembele was very involved, especially in the first half. He's very involved. He was helping out defensively as well, but he was the main, he was the person connecting a lot of the midfield and the attack. He was, dropping deep. He was practically all over the pitch today, which I gotta say is impressive. So I would give the man of the match to Dembele. But now Arsenal are going to have to go with the hard feat and going away to Paris and trying to get a 2-0 victory, which at this point, I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible, because as much as defense can win you championships, can win you a chip, the attack needs to be involved too, and Arsenal's attack just doesn't look like inspiring at all. Martinelli and Trossard, they just have nothing. Odegaard, nothing. Saka, he can't do it all himself. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen. So, yeah, I really don't see a world where Arsenal beat PSG now at Paris. Like, PSG are just too strong. They're going to defend this lead, and at the same time, as much as Arsenal are going to want to go and attack, they're going to leave open spaces where PSG can 100% take advantage of it. The one thing that I was pretty, not upset, but I was like, why isn't Arteta making some type of change here? Odegaard was awful throughout the whole game. Miles Lewis-Skelly is such a baller. He is such a great player in creating plays and driving the ball forward, running through the fence, running through the midfield. He's so good at that. Why isn't he getting the opportunities to go forward and drive, play in that midfield role? Because we all know he's a natural midfielder. Give him that opportunity, Arteta. For not to mention, you brought in Nwaneri in the 90th minute. I don't understand why. You were losing the whole match. Why wouldn't you bring more reinforcements earlier to attack? Like, you brought in Ben White before you brought in an attacker. It made no sense. I think it was mostly to, help out Timber so he doesn't get injured, but still, it doesn't make sense. But Miles Lewis-Skelly, I think, is the main guy who should be driving this team forward in the attack, being that connection from the midfield forward, because he's just that good. He's shown that he's that good. Obviously, now you have to make up for him, which I said in the game, like put Ben White in the right back and then put Timber at left back, so you don't lose, that solid defense that Miles Lewis-Skelly brings for you, and then let him, be that presence in the midfield that can attack for Arsenal, because he's just that talented. But at this point, I don't think it's ever going to happen. Mikel Arteta's not going to want to, try any experiments, just because Martin Odegaard is also their captain, so it's going to be practically impossible to bench someone like him. But yeah, I don't think Arsenal can do it. At this point, I don't think they can do it. Like, it's going to take a miracle. It's going to take probably set pieces for them to get into this game, because PSG are just looking way too solid. They're looking way too good, and they probably for sure are going to reach the Champions League final. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the second leg, which is going to be next week in Paris. We'll see if Arsenal can make a comeback or PSG are going to hold on to that lead. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below who was your man of the match, what you thought about the game in general. Do you think Arsenal have a chance, or PSG just going to go straight into the final? Obviously, tomorrow, Barcelona versus Inter Milan. Make sure to tune in for that. I'm going to be streaming that match, and I'm very excited for that match. And yeah, let me know all those things down in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, favorite, hit the notification bell for every time I upload. Share to your friends that love football, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be tomorrow. Much love, take care, and peace.